This is Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff.
Big barn.
Big barn. The barn is so big, well, so small that it can't hold all the people. And
All the
we're
people.
just in a normal Zoom setting for tonight as we record on Sunday for this episode on Monday, January 6th. Happy New Year to all the people, all the loyal listeners.
Even
Happy
Jordan?
New Year's.
Happy New Year to Jordan as well. She gets the new year. Jim's kids get the new year. Sam gets the new year. And we have a new guest joining us today. New guest alert.
Doop-a-doop-a-ba.
It's not the sound effect I was expecting, but
Could have
that
laid money
is
was going to be ridiculous, though.
that's yes. The best bet of the year so far, Alex making a ridiculous noise uh, or introduction for somebody new. We welcome another Ohio State fan and Buckeye, Tyler, to the show.
Good evening. Chris, I
Yo,
feel like it's kind of hard to live in this area and not have a lot of Ohio State fans join the show. So,
What area do you live in?
uh, Mingo, Steubenville area.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, could also get some WVU fans. We've got a decent mix overall. Nate doesn't really pledge any loyalty to a college team.
he's a WVU fan.
Yeah, but I'm not diehard like you are.
Indeed.
You're lucky. Your heart probably hurts a lot less.
But Nate is a Bucks fan, so he's endured a lot. But we'll get
Yeah.
into what happened for the Bucks today as we break down NFL Week 18, talk about the college football quarterfinals, preview the college football playoff semifinals, and discuss some other hot button topics, including the end of season awards with the NFL. As always, thanks to everybody interacting with our socials at Sports Jim Muff on Instagram and Twitter, Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff on Facebook, on YouTube. Subscribe, comment, pick, rate, review, poke, like, tickle.
Get the bell on.
Ding ding.
Get that bell on. Shout out to any
You
new
stole it from
listeners. What?
Guys,
What the fuck just happened?
I stole the ding ding from Alex.
she did not steal my ding ding.
I tried.
Ding
Nate, no, she didn't.
dong. Nate did call her a groupie earlier.
It's little, so just ding ding.
Can we just
Not
keep
ding
the
dong.
ball moving? Can we keep the ball moving?
Don't forget
Wait,
about
can we
the.
discuss something? Nate, do you have
No, we cannot discuss something.
This is about football.
Okay.
Do you have the Sunday night game on?
Yes.
Is the school closures, the snowbird thing covering up the thing for
Yes.
you too?
Cheap it is.
That's obnoxious.
That's the Ohio Valley.
I want you to call and complain.
I will.
Let's get on that. Don't forget about our betting episodes winding down. The betting episodes now these come out on typically on Thursdays. We'll see what comes of the next couple weeks of that. One thing before we get into the college football playoff, little useless knowledge for the world. 17-year-old Luke Littler is the world champion of darts. If I saw any of these clips, it was pretty epic of his walkout and his celebration. So I posed to the group, what were we doing at the age of 17 that we were not able to become world champions of darts?
Getting laid?
Uh,
We don't think that one could not lead to the other in this case, Jim?
Okay.
drinking cheap beer.
Yeah.
Doing homework.
Loser.
Sam?
I was probably at dance.
Good,
Right.
good. Tyler?
Probably things we probably shouldn't talk about on a podcast. PG. We'll keep it PG.
You're on the wrong show, bud.
Yeah, there's nothing to be about sports up with Joe and Muff.
I mean, we try to keep it PG. Unfortunately, Alex and Jim, as we've come to find, usually
I said ding ding.
I don't keep it PG.
I was doing what I'm
I'll just
doing
tell you
now.
right now.
Watching, talking about sports with my friends. All right. So let's get into the college football playoff first with the quarterfinals. Put these in sequential order of how they went down. First, on New Year's Eve, we had Penn State and Boise State in the Fiesta Bowl, and I struck on this one. Jim asked me and disagreed with me mightily about how I thought the game was going to go. I called pretty well how the game flow went. Penn State's victorious 31-14 as they hold Ashton Genty in check, especially in that first half, make Boise State one-dimensional, take advantage of some situations too that worked out for their advantage, and Penn State wins.
There's one
Moving
important
on,
question I need to ask here. How many yards did Ashton Genty have in the first half?
under 55.
Okay.
What do you have total?
That was not the bet that I had for you, Jim. He did not hit his over on his prop, Jim.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was like 110. His prop was like 135.
Hmm.
But it was under 55 in the first half, which is all I asked about.
Gotcha.
Yep. There were many after this game talking about how Kotelnicki was a little too cute, and they could have just ran the ball throughout the game and been just as good. Ashton Genty did, like I said, have over 100 yards and probably made the most of what was there for him in this game. Biggest news coming out of this game for Penn State: Abdul Carter did not play most of the game, and his status is in question for the semifinal game against Notre Dame. General
All
thoughts
right.
on this game? Questions? Thoughts and questions. Start with Alex. Or was that your only
Uh,
question, Alex?
I asked my question. Did I get another one?
Sure.
What is your thoughts on the Kotelnicki cuteness?
It was not needed in this game. That will be uh, spoiler alert. I think it is something that will need to be tapped into for the semifinal game.
Part of me said, did you show things on film now that maybe you could have held in your pocket?
He has something every week. Not going to say that that's the case.
Okay.
Jim,
I got nothing.
Nate,
I'm in Jim's boat here. Like you predicted this, and I think a lot of people did too, that the way the game was going to go.
Tyler.
Uh, really not too much. I just think Penn State should be thankful that they lost to Oregon. We can get into that in a little bit, but um, pretty nice path so far. And what we'll talk about later, I think they're sitting pretty well in the semis as well.
All right, next in New Year's Day action, the early game, we had Texas taking on Arizona State. Texas victorious, 39-31. The Big 12 came to play in this one though. It's Cam Scatabo. I've heard it's Scattaboo mostly.
Yeah.
Uh, although spelling leads me to believe otherwise. Uh, Played pretty well. A lot of
Wait,
spec.
he played pretty well the entire game?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would say after he threw up.
Right. Thank you.
Well, I don't think he was playing poorly before he threw up. He just turned it to a different level after that.
Yeah.
He was playing fine.
Maybe he's hungover. Maybe he's not in shape. Who knows?
I
He
think there
also,
was
According to him, he had a bad breakfast sandwich that was not
yes.
sitting well with him at the hotel. I don't know if we believe that, but
I think
I
there was
do
definitely a
because
switch flipped. I agree. Go ahead, Alex.
oh no, I'm just saying I actually believe I don't think he was out partying the night before. I mean,
I don't.
I feel
No.
like he was probably locked in a hotel room somewhere.
There was a hit that he took. Like he was going, he was kind of motoring, it was fine. Like I didn't think he was some big like machine. And then he got waxed like real hard in the dome. And then the next thing you heard the announcer say was, "Oh, he's throwing up on the sidelines." And I was like, "Because that's a concussion." And then out of nowhere, he put the team on his back, and I was like, something like switched. And I don't know if it was like, "Here's some medicine, son." Like, let's keep this machine going or what. But like after he got waxed, something was different.
I believe that move is called a puke and rally.
Sure, I'll go with that on the tame end. Whatever medicine they put in him for his stomach, I think helped. But he definitely got hit in the dome.
Alex is the medical degenerate. Is what would be a likely remedy on the sideline?
Probably like some Zofran or something.
But does that hit like I'm
Yes.
telling you, Alex, it was like a series, a
Yes.
rather quick series. And I know
Yeah,
that Zofran's like
you would get
20 minutes.
nauseous pretty quickly,
It was an
especially if you
ejection
just
then?
grew up.
You're talking about a shot then of Zofran?
No. You can get like sublingual Zofran where you put it under your tongue and it absorbs pretty quickly and it actually has a pretty quick action because it
How
absorbs
quick is that?
blood.
Because when I take it, we're talking like 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, but once you throw up, you always have that initial period where you feel a lot better. Or at least I do.
All
Al-
right.
I've been like, oh,
Alex
wow.
is a veteran in the puke and rally move, Jim.
I don't know. I
I've
just
been
think
throwing up a lot in my life. And usually when I throw up the initial time, I feel a lot better. Then it just takes a little bit before it hits you again.
sure,
Scottaboo named the offensive MVP of the game.
most
Obviously,
definitely should have been.
yes, agreed. Obviously, we had overtime. We had the heroic efforts of Scottaboo and Arizona State to come back in this one. Overtime comes into play for in the college football playoff. Are we okay with how the overtime played out? Do we have any concerns if it would have kept going, if it was going to be decided by the 2 point plays?
I don't mind the 2 point plays. It's more exciting that way. And
I don't
by
care about
that point in
that.
the game, you're so physically exhausted. Like, do you still want to see these guys go down the field like 80, 75 yards over and over and over again?
Well, and I honestly like think it should just be how it is in the regular season. Like I don't think you should mix it up just because it's playoffs necessarily.
I am in the camp that it shouldn't even have gone there
Why?
because the live ball of the Arizona kicker before bounced up and through. It was still live, and that should have counted as a field goal.
You talking about the one that bounced off the ground?
And in.
Okay, Jim.
Is it dead when it hits the ground?
Yes, it's
According to the
definitely.
rule book, it is not.
Nate, do you have any idea?
That's definitely a unicorn kind of play. I would have to dive at least in the high school rule book to find it. Um, but I wouldn't think that that would be a legal kick. But I mean, the more I think about it, we always talk about like a penalty enforcement and whatever spots and saying in high school a kick is a kick is a kick, meaning that's still a kicking play until the ball becomes dead by rule. But I wouldn't think that you would kick a field goal and it could bounce and roll and then spike up in the air and be good.
According to the college rule book,
What does the college rulebook say?
the ball is live until it's blown dead.
Which would be how you can do the field goal miss and then they can get the ball in the back of the end zone and run it back, Jim.
And it bounced through. Therefore, 3 points.
Okay. So Jim has a conspiracy. Got it. Never going to happen. Never going to be true. So thank you,
That's where
Jim.
I'm at, man.
Thank you, Jim, for this thought. Tyler, thoughts on the game? Overtime?
Thoughts on the overtime. I'm kind of like I look at it like I look at hockey. Like the 2 point conversions are nice. Regular season, just getting the game over with. But when it's something, especially the Ohio State fan base, I think Jim can kind of look at me with that or agree with me to where a loss really just kills a coach. Um, and if you're, I mean, how much crap did James Franklin take when they lost to Illinois in how many overtimes just because of a 2 point play, right? They probably weren't the worst team in that game. I think you need to let it play out on the field, kind of like the NHL does. You do shootouts throughout the season. But once it's playoff time and the games mean 10 times more than they do in the regular season, I think it should be settled on the field, not just by a 2 point conversion.
I'm in that camp. Go back to the traditional. You have to go for two after what used to be after two or three.
It's in the second now.
Well, no, the previous.
Oh,
It was like the second one, after the second one.
After the second one. Okay.
Yeah.
I would be okay with that if we did that, or after the first one. I would rather see them have alternating possessions aside from the 2 point thing in the college football playoff. That's my thought there.
even
Um,
the NFL also has different rules in playoffs now, correct?
yeah, but that was yes, because it used to be you could, if you scored a touchdown, the other team did not get. If the opening possession resulted in a touchdown, the other team did not get it. But that was the Patrick Mahomes Josh Allen game,
Hmm.
and they're like, oh, we got to switch this because we would rather see both of them get a chance to go back and forth. So yes, it is changed in the NFL. Do you have any thoughts on the final possession for Texas in this one, where Arizona State and Dillingham called pretty much an all-out blitz to force Ewers to throw the ball. Ewers completed the pass for the touchdown, ultimate game winner. Dillingham owned the play call after some were uh, just ganging up on the person in coverage, the player in coverage for that one. Said that's what he was supposed to be doing. That's on him for the call. Do we question the call in this case, which was what, 4th and 13?
I think that was silly. I think that, but he stayed true to himself. You know what I mean? That's who he is. So I wouldn't knock him. Like if we were in that position, like if that was Ohio State and he had done that the entire year and in throughout that game, I'd been like, we went down swinging. But 50,000 feet and not an Arizona State fan, looking at who Quinn Ewers is, I probably would have laid back.
Okay, Tyler, your thoughts on that?
Um, I think like Jim said, I mean, that's who they've been all year. That's how they've played it all year. So I don't fault them for going that route. And I don't think Ewers played that well all game. So
Nope.
especially under pressure, he made some bad throws. Just so happened they left a guy wide open in the end zone, but um, I don't fault him.
Alex, Nate, any additional thoughts?
I I feel like I would have played like some kind of prevent almost. I mean, they have to score a touchdown or not.
It was 4th and 13. They just have to make sure they don't get a first down in this case.
But yeah,
Right.
that's what. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just like I feel like there was a way to keep them. I didn't like it, no, but I it would have been great if it had worked.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Nate?
I thought it was asinine to do it that late. It's like I understand it's what you've done all year, but in that situation, do you think you need a full out blitz in that yards to go?
Yeah. I don't, yeah, I'm on the side of it was true to what they've done. It was on brand and he owned it and took the heat off of his player, which I think says a lot to him as a coach ultimately for this one.
Mhm.
We also had the targeting, the no call on targeting. I know in our group text we had some chatter about this, so I want to bring Nate's thoughts as the resident official.
Can we go
Uh,
the opposite way? I find it to be more interesting the other way.
the other way
So she
being,
said.
I think that in our group chat, I was big into targeting. I was like, that's target. I was like the rest of the world. That's targeting face to face. That's targeting adamant. And then Nate's logic was very solid. And then our group chat settled down like right quick. Like Nate handled that very well. And the game kept moving. And then it was over. And then America went like ballistic on the Twitter that that's targeting and they only did it for Texas and blah, 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 blah. But like from my perspective, to be America for a hot second and then listen to Nate and then watch America not have a Nate was super interesting. So like I would like to have Nate's whether he wants to reread what he sent us or just go ahead and Nate give your explanation as to why that shouldn't have been targeting. But that was super interesting.
Well, funny you say that. I was just going back into the group text to find it. So my initial reaction to this, I said I didn't think it was targeting. I said it was face mask to face mask, and the contact at that point was unavoidable. He didn't duck his head down to make forcible contact with the crown of the helmet, which seems to be the point of emphasis this year. And I said, yes, it was to the head and neck area, but I don't think that that kind of hit is the spirit of the rule.
And like that was sound enough for me. Like, oh no, fuck, he's right.
spirit of the rule. Isn't that where you live, Jim?
Yeah. But like I'm America, you know what
I
I mean?
know.
Like
I know. Alex, what were
that
your
sounded
thoughts? I
good.
forget where you were on this one.
I thought it was targeting off the bat, and I think it could. I think in other circumstances it probably would have gotten called for targeting, but I think that there also is an element of you don't want to make that the game.
And
Like
I want to put a pin in that comment
the
right there
timing
too.
of the call would have been the game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Tyler, your thoughts?
Adding on to what Nate said, it didn't look like he really launched himself either. It was kind of like the receiver jumped up, he's coming back down. I thought it was clean. I get the helmet to helmet. I feel like when people see helmet to helmet, it's automatically people just think it's targeting. But I was a little I wasn't so far on the way of it should have been targeting. I don't mind the no call there.
And my opinion was I thought it was targeting based on like hitting the elements that were necessary. And Gene's territory backed me up. So screw you all. So Jim, you wanted to come back to something on that?
I'm gonna put a pin in that comment that Alex made about it would have made the game and how they were calling the game. I'm gonna put a pin in that for the Ohio State Oregon game. I'm
Okay.
gonna come back to that.
All right. Any final thoughts on Texas, Arizona State?
I think I was more impressed with I think that game's more of a statement on Arizona State
Yeah.
than it is Texas.
I think that the Big 12 got a bad rap all year, and they definitely were the worst Power Four conference. Or not really, honestly. I mean, I think them an ACC, but they've played well. I mean, period, period. In the bowl
I need
games
clarification on that giant statement you just made.
that I'm saying, I understand that they were the worst conference, but I think that they have played well in bowl games. You have
Big
the
12 or
deepest,
Arizona State?
the Big 12
Okay.
as a whole.
Okay. I just need clarification. I didn't,
Uh,
you had me confused.
Do you disagree with either of those statements, Jim?
No, because of the clarification.
Well, if you
I'm
don't
good.
disagree with either of them, then were you disagree with one of them?
No, I was just confused. I
Okay.
was trying to figure out where he was at.
Okay. Fair enough. Proceed, Alex. Sorry.
no, that's really it. Just that Arizona State put up a good showing. They were expected to get whooped up on by Texas. They took them to overtime. They lost. They actually had many chances to win and kind of shot themselves in the foot. And then I was just, pointing out, Iowa State, Miami, Colorado, BYU. So the teams that came out that were towards the top of our conference played well. BYU, Arizona State, Iowa State.
You did mention Miami though. Where are you at with Miami?
I said Iowa State beat them.
Okay. Okay.
That's no, yeah, that's
Okay.
it.
All
No, that
right.
was my only mention.
Again,
To
very
support
confused.
Alex's point, Jim, ACC is 2-11 in bowl games.
Oh yeah, I don't disagree with him. I was just very where's he at?
But Alex, the Big 12 was only 4-5, but one of those games they had to play each other.
Yeah.
All right. Other final thoughts? No? Moving on. High State, Oregon. Take it away, Buckeyes.
Um, to take the pin out of what I said, I think the referees let them play a lot. I don't see there hasn't been a holding call on Ohio State again for Ohio State and holding since the Marshall game, and I don't think there was any holding. There was a lot of holding being done, but no flag, and I can't bitch because I thought the referees let everybody play. I mean, Igbinosa, there was no flags on him this game, which stunning. I was shocked. So if there's no flags on Igbinosa and there's no holding, I can't bitch. Um, I thought Ohio State came out just mad and angry and played their asses off. Um, they won the Rose Bowl. Good for you, Ryan Day. Go win this one. That's my take.
Tyler, can you give us any real breakdown of the game, please?
This Ohio State's the best team in the country.
Whew,
Nobody's touching this Ohio State team.
I really need to
And
mute this guy.
when I say this Ohio State team, I don't mean as a season. I mean this team that has shown up in the playoffs, and I don't think anyone would argue that. If I mean big if they've been pretty inconsistent all year, but if that team shows up, I just don't see a team that's remaining that can stop this offense. And a team that can score enough on this defense. But Ryan Day and Chip Kelly realizing that Jeremiah Smith's on the team for more than one drive was pretty impressive. If you throw the ball to four, I think you're probably going to score points. Um, and it looked like in the Michigan game, all they wanted to do was get the run going. I think they ran the ball over 40 times that game. That's not who Ohio State is anymore. They haven't been that in probably since Ryan Day has come into the program as an offensive coordinator. Um, so I think they need to pass the ball to set up the run, and that's what they did. Travion Henderson is unbelievable when he has some space, but if you're just leaning on the run, this offensive line with two major injuries to two All-Americans, you can't really run the ball. So, I mean, if you're spreading the ball out and then setting up the run, you see what these running backs can do. But like I said, you throw the ball to run the ball. It's not really the Ohio State way. It's not the way people viewed Ohio State in the past, but it's who they are now. And kudos to Ryan Day and Chip Kelly for figuring it out when it mattered. Um, so we'll see where they go from here.
All right, good. Question, and I will say this is not substantiated by anything, but I read something, I thought about it, I'm unsure, so I want your all's take. There was a thought that the run game, being committed to the run game, was more of a Chip Kelly thing than a Ryan Day thing. Is that substantiated
Mm,
by anything from
uh,
Ohio State past, present?
I
It
am of
wouldn't
the mind.
shock.
Go ahead.
It wouldn't shock me. Considering, I mean, look at Ryan Day since he's been here. Dwayne Haskins as his quarterback, CJ Stroud as his quarterback. Um, he's always spread the ball out, thrown it around. So maybe, but I'm not sure.
Okay,
They did it last year as well, though, against Michigan. They
right.
tried to run the ball and out physical them. So
Jim, thoughts differently? I just saw that and I was like, I wanted to get curious. I was curious from Ohio State fans' thought, like mindset.
I'm of the mindset that Ryan Day is it's Ryan Day who wants to run the rock against Michigan. I also think that Will Howard was hurt. Something was definitely up during the Michigan game. I'm not making excuses. They played like shit, but something was afoot in that Michigan game. Whether he was hurt, whether they had decided to do something completely different and stick to it, something was not correct. And whether that was planned or what, they definitely had to come to Jesus and say, we're not doing that shit again. Because the last two games have been a whole different team. And you can tell that Chip Kelly's style of offense is now in place. Like you're seeing the tight end doing things that I haven't seen in a long time. Long time. I'm talking maybe early Urban, late Tressel type movement out of that tight end. So no, Ryan Day. That was Ryan Day in Michigan.
Alex, Nate, any questions for the Ohio State fans?
Nope.
Good guys, good. Glad we could have this time together. All right, moving on to the last game, the game that was postponed, the game that had to be played a day later. Not getting any more on that for this particular show. But Notre Dame, Georgia. Notre Dame comes away with the win, 23-10. Notre Dame's defense stays top tier against the backup quarterback from Georgia, who some were saying was going to be the better option between he and Carson Beck. Beck has now declared for the NFL draft. Good for you, buddy. Initial thoughts on this game, Notre Dame, Georgia.
I didn't even watch it. I was at
Uh,
work.
Notre Dame was definitely, I mean, no question the better team here. It was 23-10, but Notre Dame controlled that game the entire time. Uh, I continue to dislike Kirby Smart. I just kind of want to punch him in his face. I'm not really sure it's a punchable face. Um, but Notre Dame, I kind of thought maybe they were going to be frauds this year, and you can't say that right now.
Nate?
Um, I think Georgia is in a world of hurt if they can't recruit uh, quarterbacks or if they can't recruit talent on offense. Now with this NIL going around, they don't have the talent they did the past I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years, and it's gonna show.
All right. Tyler, thoughts on this game?
Boring game. It was the perfect nap time game where you kind of fell asleep midway through the first quarter, wake up towards the end of the second, early third, um, and you really didn't miss anything. Uh, but yeah, Notre Dame dominated. Defense looked unbelievable.
True, true, true. And for some in the Georgia faithful, they point to one man alone, as a reason that things started to go the wrong way in this game, and that is walk-on redshirt Parker Jones, who got a sideline penalty for interfering with, would that be the side judge, the line judge?
It depends on the side of the field.
It was on the Georgia side, and Georgia was the home team.
What half?
Uh,
First, I think.
half of the field or half of the game?
Half of the game.
First half.
Okay, because the wings switch sidelines in college. That's why I asked. So if it's the short wing, it would have been the line judge. If it was the deep wing, it would have been the field judge.
Okay. Anyway, old buddy ran into Parker Jones, and Parker Jones got a penalty, and he's already the Georgia faithful already telling him to pack his bags, get out, because he's probably not going to be there anymore.
Made me
Nate, have
sick
you
when it
ever
happened.
had what's that, Alex?
It like made me sick when it happened because I was like,
Uh,
that kid's life just changed forever.
yes, forever, forever. Nate, have you ever? You're mostly in the center of the field. Have you ever had any issues on a game you've worked where somebody has had an issue with the sideline where they've actually fallen over or had any other issues?
Oh no, I did run into a coach during a middle school game this year, and I told him the next time he's on the white sideline there and I see him coming, he's getting an elbow to the ribs.
All right.
So no flag, just physical violence.
Oh no, I mean they properly flagged it too. Like I only gave him 5 and or whatever because it wasn't a close game and it was late. And I said, I should have hit you with 15 there. But
What'd he say?
so he's just like, oh yeah, whatever, I'll get out of your way next time. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Okay. All right.
I have one more thing on that. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
go.
I do feel bad for the kid. That play in particular, the DB kind of, I don't know if he missed a tackle or if he took a wide angle, kind of forced the ref deep into the white. If you watch that replay, his full foot, he's not even fully in the white. It's just really the front half of his feet. He's kind of leaning over. I think if that DB doesn't force the ref to the sideline side of the white, it's just a normal play. And we're not even talking about it. So kind of I think the term was brought up earlier, kind of a unicorn situation, but um, it happened. It's not why Georgia lost the game. Uh, they probably
Un
weren't going to get a touchdown there anyway. So we'll leave
Unfortunate
it at
for
that.
Parker Jones. Parker Jones, unfortunate. We talked about this a little bit with this. Do we think that the Kirby Smart and the Georgia run is over as far as being a top contender for the foreseeable future?
No,
What do
I
you
think they're gonna have a
consider
couple.
a foreseeable
Yeah,
future?
3 to 4 years.
Three,
no.
3 to 4, no. 1 to 2, maybe.
Yeah, definitely a one, but definitely not more.
I don't think they win a national title in the next 3 years.
Oh,
Jim disagrees.
vehemently.
Do you think that Georgia wins the national title in the next 3 years?
Yeah, I think they're, yeah.
Alex, I want you to mark this down. I will bankroll Alex's $5 against Jim's $5 on this.
There you go.
And Jim is going to place a futures bet on Georgia to win the national championship.
So he doesn't forget.
I mean, I don't understand. I'm trying to think like Michigan probably has a good shot because they're bankrolling the house. Beyond that, like who else do you think right now?
Could win a national championship.
Yeah,
In the next
Texas,
in the next three to
Penn
four
State.
years.
Alabama, Notre Dame.
Based on what,
the top
Alex?
6 to 8 teams in the playoff this year, excluding we'll say Boise State.
I'm sorry, but you have on what? On what basis?
Is Notre Dame not in this conversation for you? Is Oregon
No,
not in this conversation for you?
maybe, but aren't they losing a ton?
They've also picked up how
Right.
many from the portal?
Yes, Jim.
Okay,
Remember,
so
this is the
Oregon,
portal. This is the portal. This is the portal era. It does
Oregon,
not matter.
Michigan, who else?
Kurt Signetti, obviously in Indiana.
But you said this top 6 teams. Georgia's one of the top 6 teams.
So they have a chance. I'm
But you
not
just
saying
said Michigan was the only team that was able to compete with them potentially.
Okay, Oregon, Georgia, Michigan.
you think Bama has
Texas,
to come back.
Texas.
No, I don't think Bama's come back. Is losing people through the portal left and right. I don't think Texas is necessarily in the front running any more than Georgia is. No,
You don't think Georgia's losing people in any way?
I don't think that they are in dire straits, and I think they have the financial backing to get who they got to get. Whereas the other teams are not contenders in terms of finances yet.
Well, we're gonna find out a lot in April.
And that
I'm
includes
telling you.
Ohio State. Like, I don't necessarily know that Ohio State,
Isn't April
Ohio
top
State
3 in
has.
the amount of payroll, quote
I'm
unquote?
saying I don't know that they're going to empty the coffers a second round yet. I don't know if they're ready to yet.
Ohio State's like the most financially like.
They are
Yeah.
not the most. Oregon's spent 23 million.
You don't think that Ohio State's got more money back, Jim? This is your high take.
I'm
When
saying
you
I
say
don't know that they're ready to spend it. They win the national title? Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Guaranteed. I'm saying that I don't know that they are ready to spend it, and they're not winning in the portal right now.
They did just get the Branch brothers from USC
and
today.
they got the most highly coveted tight end in the portal from Purdue.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking Georgia.
Oh, I was talking Ohio State.
Like they didn't empty like the war chest. They can't get a offensive or defensive lineman to commit. LSU, there's another contender. You're right. Winning in the
LSU
portal
will
left
never
and
be a
right.
contender as long as Brian Kelly's here.
But they're winning in the portal.
Yeah, but they're not winning on the field.
I don't know. I don't know why we say Kirby's. We're counting Kirby out. I just don't get it.
I'm saying that the foreseeable future, which I said was 3 to 4 years.
That's fucking insane. One of the wildest things I've heard you guys say on this show. Wildest.
Of all the things you've said, I don't think this is the wildest.
I've said some crazy shit. I don't. They're not. It's not a matter of what I've said. It's a matter of what you guys have said.
I
That
just
is one
told
of
you.
the craziest things.
I just bankrolled Alex for this. $5.
Whew.
$5, Jim. Overall thoughts on the college football playoff thus far. Now that we have kind of a better understanding, we know that none of the teams that had first round byes made it through to the semis. So, what conversations and or changes do we expect?
I hate this conversation. This conversation is like beating a dead horse. I understand we have to have it. We are a sports podcast show. But like I saw something today that was like an argument for reseeding just because Ohio State is the better team. Like it played itself out the way it should have, in my opinion. Like it just is what it is. I've heard Oregon fans bitching because we drew Ohio State. Like so? Like, does it suck that you're 13-1 and sitting out now? Yes. But like you also wouldn't be bitching if you'd beat Ohio State. Like, and you got beat handedly by Ohio State this time around. And that's not me bragging because I'm an Ohio State fan. Like you got smoked that first half.
Right.
I just don't it played out the way it should. I don't understand any other way we could have done it.
I think the outcome of these games puts more fuel to the fire on doing it based on the rankings, not, oh, you won the ACC, so we're going to put you here, or you won the Mountain West, you're going to get a first round bye. Like, I understand the importance of conference championships, but just treat it like they do in basketball and make it an automatic berth. Don't just say, oh, you won your conference, you're going to be a guaranteed to bye.
And we've talked about that in the last episode. I agree with that. I think that's the only change I would make. But I think the outcomes might still be the same.
Sure, but I mean, at least then you say, okay, you put the 4 best teams as buys. You didn't just give it to someone who may have got lucky and won a conference championship game. Like, you never know. Like, you could have a conference with a bad year. Let's say some of these teams next year, not everybody's going to go 12-0, 13-0. You could have a 2-loss conference champion or 3-loss conference champ, and you're going to give them a bye just because they're a conference champion. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Other thoughts? I know we've talked about this before. Tyler, your thoughts? We haven't heard from you on this.
I mean, I messaged you before the conference championship game, and I
Mhm.
said, if you're Oregon, do you lose this game? Because the 5 seed is the best seed in this current format. You're getting the worst, you're getting the 12 seed, which is the worst team in the playoff, and then you're getting the worst conference champion. I mean, I think Oregon fans and Oregon in general has a legit gripe. They ran into, I mean, whether this was Ohio State, whether this would have been Tennessee, whether this would have been whoever the third best team in the Big Ten or the SEC was, um, I'd rather play the 12 seed and then the worst conference champion than be the 1 seed and play the second or third best Big Ten or SEC team.
And I agree with your argument there, like 100%. I think there'd be more validity to it if Oregon and Ohio State went back to 32-31 and Oregon's the one who loses by a point.
Agreed, but if Ohio State played that game against any team currently sitting in the playoff, I think they beat any of those teams by that score. If that Ohio State team shows up, I think you'd much rather be Penn State. Penn State wouldn't have wanted to play that Ohio State team.
I think anybody based on Ohio State's first 2 games was too excited about the prospect of playing them at any point in this situation. I don't disagree with that.
Agreed. But even looking, like I said, if you're Oregon, Ohio State based off of talent alone is a much better team than Arizona State or Boise State. And I don't think you can disagree with that if you're looking at talent. Have they been inconsistent? Yes. Are they still one of the best teams in the country? Absolutely. Would you rather play Ohio State or would you rather play Boise State and Arizona State? Or, I'm sorry.
I don't know. In hindsight, like Ohio, from my fandom in Columbus, there was dread going in, even after beating Tennessee. There was dread going into the Rose Bowl. Like, we thought Oregon was going to be the giant.
Agreed.
I don't.
Yeah.
Sky was
my
falling.
only-
We got it. Sky was falling in Columbus. We get it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
My only other thought
Agreed.
on the 12-team playoff is I argued this at the beginning of the year. So I'll enjoy if Ohio State would somehow make the run and win the title. I'll enjoy it just as much as any other title I've witnessed. I don't like the 12-team playoff. I think it takes away from the regular season. Games mean less. You lost to Oregon. Oh well. You lost to Michigan. Oh well.
See,
You can shake your head no.
Not
I
okay.
agree. It's the Steelers losing to the Browns at this point. They're going to talk their crap. Cool, we beat you. If Ohio State's holding up that national title trophy, sorry, that game you can say the whole tradition, the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry. I get it. You want to win that game, but that game no longer defines your season. It no longer ruins your season.
Oh boy.
You say what you want. Ohio State should not be able to lose to Michigan and lose another game and compete for a national title. But the way that they've drawn this up, it didn't give more teams chances. It
I
gave
see your point.
Ohio State more chances. It gave Georgia more chances.
No, I see your point. It's a fair point. I don't like it, but I see your point.
Jim believes that the Michigan loss should ruin the whole season.
Oh, there's an asterisk to me. They could go win that national title. There's an asterisk.
Here's the one thing that I asked a group of my friends. I said, if you go to a game at Ohio Stadium,
Hmm.
um, if you look around the ring of the upper deck, I would like you to point out to me where they have the wins against Michigan, um, because you can look and you will not find them. But then I can say, where will you find the national titles? And they're big right there, north end zone,
That's a
all the
great
year.
fucking point. We should put the fucking record against Michigan up around the ring.
Just only put the
Well, right now
losses
they
up
don't.
there.
So
We
Only
should.
put the losses up. So one thing with the overall thoughts right now, there is not a traditional SEC team that made it in the Final Four. Has many questioning the strength of that conference this year and potentially into the not I'm not gonna say the forever future, but questioning some of the short term here as Texas, the only SEC team, their first year. We know where Jim feels. Do we have any concerns about the
Wait, what
SEC
do
as a
I feel?
conference? You just you feel very strongly that the SEC is still strong.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah,
That's what
that's fine.
that's so as a conference, are there any concerns about the SEC maybe falling? Not I'm not gonna say to like a bottom of the Power Four, but not as firmly in the 1-2 spot.
I think for right now, it's going to be Big Ten SEC. If nothing else, financially. I mean, you guys just have bigger programs that have more money, period.
Nate, thoughts?
No, I think you guys pretty much got all the points covered on this one.
All right.
I mean, it's just odd to see teams that have 2 losses now, and you're like, you normally would never see that, but that's just going to be the new norm.
mhm.
Notre Dame with their run into the semifinals, does this give them another year of the pass based on their schedule, strength of schedule? As long as they win the games, we expect Notre Dame to be in.
When you say gives them the pass, does you mean gives it to the national media or us? I think that's a big fucking distinction.
The national media is all that matters in this, and the College Football
Well, then,
Playoff
yeah, they'll
Committee.
get their pass. Alex, you gonna give them a pass?
No.
Me either.
I mean, they're proving themselves. They are in the semifinals. I think it's tough to say that they are not a top team.
Not hard for me.
I
Well, I think it depends. If they get drummed by Penn State, then yes.
I agree with that point. If they beat Penn State, all right, I'll give you your pass.
Okay. All right. Any other
they
thoughts on
go
that?
if
The
they go
second,
undefeated next year with that schedule. I
Yeah,
they open at Miami, Texas A&M at home,
but that's
Purdue,
Miami without Cam Ward.
correct.
Okay.
Purdue at Arkansas, Boise State at home, USC at home. I mean, I don't think you're going to find an SEC school or a Big Ten school with a harder schedule through the first 6 weeks of the year.
That's a tough road to hoe.
Yes. All right, that brings us into the semifinal matchups. First in the Orange Bowl, Thursday, football. We have Notre Dame taking on Penn State. We've talked a lot about what has happened, but let's talk about what will be. From my particular point of view, I think the keys for Penn State is it is time now to get cute, Mr. Kotelnicki. We don't need to bang our head trying to run the ball, which is what you should have done against Boise State. Now's the time to pull out all those wrinkles, do all those things, especially on first down. Try to pick up those yards, get yourself in a good position, get ahead of the chains, set up those drives to at least get a field goal chance as much as possible. That's my keys to victory for Penn State. On the offensive side of the ball, on the defensive side of the ball, play it just like you're playing against Boise State and Ashton Genty. Make Riley Leonard beat you with his arm. He has not shown himself to be consistent in that way. If he beats you with his legs here and there, so be it. You got to live with that. But play like Ashton Genty is on the other side because Notre Dame's two running backs are both top tier. Any thoughts on this game from either side, Notre Dame or Penn State?
Penn State needs to make that quarterback see ghosts. Like you need to make him antsy in that pocket. Like if there was ever a time Penn State needed to play like Ohio State, this game needs to be it. Don't hold back. Just hurt that quarterback.
Other thoughts?
no, not
For
really. I think think it's gonna be containing the Riley Leonard, like you said, take away his legs, kind of make him throw. His
Yep.
Nate, Tyler. Fun fact, Tyler, go ahead.
First of all, with the Notre Dame running backs, Jeremiah Love
Yeah.
did not look good. Uh, Clips came out of their practice of him going through drills, very bulky knee brace on, limping pretty badly. So I would keep an eye on that. If Jeremiah Love can't go at 100%, I think Penn State's able to just pin their ears back and go attack Riley Leonard because, like you mentioned, I don't think he's going to be able to throw the ball. He hasn't been able to throw the ball all year. Uh, if I'm a Notre Dame fan, if Penn State goes up 10-0 somehow and you're forced to throw the ball, I think could get ugly.
Fun fact, Tyler. I think you found this.
Oh yeah. Penn State, 2 national titles, 1982, 1986. Both of those seasons. So Penn State has not won a national title without beating Notre Dame in that season. So uh, history, we like to say, repeats itself.
We do like to say that, especially Penn State wins.
Yeah.
All right, and other thoughts, Nate, Alex, others.
I think one of the guys in my football crew is going to this game.
Nice.
Bet you can't guess who, Sam.
Dennis.
Yep.
All right, Dennis. Have fun, Dennis. All right, and in the Cotton Bowl, Friday night football, Ohio State versus Texas. Take it away, Buckeye Homers.
Go ahead, Jim.
I think the key to Ohio State's victory is back off the run. Their defensive line is like 7 foot, 300-pound monsters. So please don't just try to run it, especially at the ends. Keep with that creative play calling. Number 4 is the answer. And if they try to triple team him, we have 3 more. So like we have weapons. The defense, I think you just make yours, make some bad decisions, and he'll turn over the ball. And then I think they'll force Archie's boy in there. But I think defense play like you've been playing, and then let's be careful how we run into those monsters. It's my take.
Tyler.
Agree. Throw the ball to 4. I don't think anyone could stop it. Texas does have the National Freshman of the Year at defensive end. And they also have the Thorpe Award winner out as a DB. So Texas definitely has talent.
That kid can't be everywhere though. That's the best part.
Agreed. Defensive tackles are a problem. So I think Ohio State has learned to not go with the game plan they ran against Michigan and Nebraska of trying to run it up the middle 40 times. Stay away from those guys, spread the ball out. And I'm with you on defense. Really just stay creative. They had 8 sacks against Oregon. The first time they played Oregon, they had 0 sacks. So they were able to get to the quarterback. And I think if you can pressure Quinn Ewers, bad things happen for Texas. So really defense just has to stay creative and get to the QB.
All right, there we go. Fun fact you had, Tyler, has already been alluded to, so I don't know if we need to get into that unless you want to talk about holding penalties or lack thereof.
No, I think it is a pretty crazy stat that they've gone through all of Big Ten play and now 2 playoff games without one team being called for holding. Still getting pressure though. So
They love
that's all,
I guess. Quick question for you two.
Mhm.
If, big if here, High State's obviously favored in this game. High State loses. Ryan Day's future. Tyler.
Ryan Day's the head coach.
Jim.
He'll
Especially now that
entertain.
Vrabel's taken an NFL job. So.
We'll get there.
I think he'll entertain conversations from the NFL. I don't know that he'll leave, but I think he'll entertain conversations.
Don't disagree with that. I think if the decision is Ohio State's to make, Ryan Day's the head coach.
Yeah, I'll stick with that. but that doesn't mean he will be there. I think from seeing the conversations about his family, from seeing the post game relief on his face and the relief on his family, I think if he got a hell of an offer to get the fuck out of Columbus, I think the family would be like, getting real sick of this town.
Now, if they win a national championship, do you think all of that is still on the table for him?
Oh yeah. I
Okay.
think I think he would still be like, listen, we did what we came here to do.
Now it's time to move on.
I don't know if another Michigan game I have in me with this town.
Fair enough. All right. Any other
If
thoughts? Final thoughts.
if
Go ahead, Alex.
if Ryan Day leaves and Ohio State loses to Michigan next year, do you feel bad for all the shit you talked on Ryan Day?
No.
If they lose the next 3 years with a new coach,
No.
okay.
Wait, Alex, we've
Again,
been over this with Jim.
my
This
point
is Jim's
stands.
mindset.
If
There's an
Ryan Day
asterisk.
had got in the mix during that fight, I would not have a problem with Ryan Day. What happened? That was my problem with Ryan Day.
Okay. I'm just circling back.
I will not budge from that.
Okay.
Tyler, do you feel the same way as Jim does on that? Just out of curiosity.
No, I do not.
I don't understand.
I don't.
You think him standing there wondering what happened is okay?
I think he was in. I'm not saying. Well, one, I don't think a head coach should ever get involved in a fight. I mean, look at Woody Hayes. Uh,
But
he
should he
lost his
not get
job.
his players like back?
Yeah, let him go at it. I think it was better letting him fight.
Ryan Day letting him fight Jim may be what's happening right now. This may be the outcome.
Now you're telling me with a negative
I don't
fan
know.
base, if Ryan Day went up and pulled all of his players back from trying to stop that to happen, that he wouldn't get called even softer for not letting him fight.
I'm not saying stop them from fighting, but stop them from abusing your staff.
Fair. I I don't think Ryan Day should even be in the consideration of someone that we should be talking about firing.
I I am not a fan of how he acted in that fight. Adamantly against it.
Oh, it just adds on the fact they lost to Michigan. Other thoughts on the college football playoff?
I don't care. I told you I don't care about that loss.
You do. You just said if they win a national championship,
There's an asterisk by it.
because that it matters that much. So it does matter.
Okay,
If it
I
didn't
see your
matter,
point.
there
I
wouldn't be
see
an
your point.
asterisk.
I see your point.
That's
That's
all
fair.
I'm saying. If
That's
it did
fair.
matter, then you would not have that thought.
That's fair.
All right. Other thoughts on college
Last
football? Oh, go.
last thing with Ohio State, if we're gonna put an asterisk on it,
Yeah.
this would be the only time in college football history that a team would have had to beat five, well, actually over five top 10 teams in a single season. Um, which
And lose to Michigan.
correct, but I think the wins matter more than the losses in this situation.
How old are you?
Especially in
I am 31.
All right, you're 30 though. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, I remember the end of the Cooper years. I get it. But I also
All right.
believe with those rosters, if John Cooper had a chance at a 12-team playoff,
He'd still lose to Michigan.
he'd still probably have a few titles.
That's probably true.
All right, let's move on to the NFL Week 18. Obviously, we can float through a lot of this because there were only so many games of note. Let's start with some Saturday football. We had the Browns taking on the Ravens. The Ravens, with the win, 35-10, clinched the AFC North and the 3 seed. In this game for the Ravens, they had Zay Flowers go out with a knee injury. Status for the opening round of the playoffs is questionable at this point. Post game, the Browns fire offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey and offensive line coach Andy Dickerson.
Because that's what needs to happen. It's the coaching staff's fault.
Dorsey on an all-time bad run right now. He got run out of Buffalo, and now he's getting run out of Cleveland. I don't know where his next landing spot will be.
Probably Pittsburgh knowing us.
Moving on to Saturday Night Football, where we had Alex in attendance.
I was in attendance. It was chilly, but I was in attendance. And We were talking about the bouncing kick earlier. So this game started. I got thanks to work. I shouldn't say work, but the generosity of somebody, one of the doctors I work with, wasn't going to use the tickets and gave them to me to take to my brothers and cousin to the game. And we were sitting 3 rows up off the field in the end zone, which was like an all-time high for them, being 15, 16, and like can breathe the same air that these guys are breathing. But the players are coming out of the tunnel and it's right by us, like on our end. Like my brother's like enthralled. His eyes are this big watching. And Chris Boswell is warming up and he kicks like from like it was like a 60 yarder and it hits the ground and bounces and it misses like the net because it's not like a full net, it's just behind the thing. And it just drills my little brother after the hop up over. And he didn't, because he was so focused watching the thing, he thought the guy next to him punched him. And he was so confused. Like, I mean, he's not like a fighter. He was just like, I was like, Nick, pick up the ball. And the guy next to him picked up the ball and they make you throw it back, which I think's stupid. Like, come on, NFL. You make millions and millions, millions and millions, millions of dollars and you can't let a kid keep a ball, but whatever. Uh, but yeah, it was kind of funny.
You should
I
have
like
told
caught
your brother to take a dive and
I
cry.
I know. I caught it out of the corner of my eye and I was like, Nick, that ball just hit you. And he's like, yeah, I thought that guy punched me. I was like, what? No.
I'd have gone down like a sack of shit.
I know.
Pretty sure
You're
that you don't get
Waterworld.
anything for that, Jim.
My
No.
broken orbital bone.
No, it drilled him in the like lower half. So
He's got to take the ball and run.
yeah, I know. That's what I said. I said, pick up the ball, pick up the ball. Or act like it's not, I don't know where it went. But no, it was a cool experience for that. There was a Jamar Chase touchdown right in front of our face, which I mean obviously it sucked because it was a Jamar Chase touchdown, but like getting to boo him and him celebrating right there. Like I don't even dislike him as a player. He's a good player, but you know what I mean? The event, it was cool. It was freezing cold. Whenever I thought we were going to come back and end up kicking a game-winning field goal, I'm like, this was worth it. The cold was worth it. The fun was worth it. This was amazing. And then we didn't even get to that point, and I still had a great time. And it was still worth it, but it definitely took the shine off whenever I realized just how cold I was as soon as that clock hit zero.
Yeah, as soon as the loss was real,
Yeah,
then
I
the
was wearing
cold
three
became
pairs of
real.
pants, four shirts. It was a lot, but it was a great time. So
Obviously, the Bengals do win this game, 19-17, which put the Steelers in a position where they were unsure going into Sunday football, which we'll get to, where they would be in the playoff situation. Alex, what was the sentiment of Steeler Nation on George Pickens throughout
oh,
this game?
people were jacked. They're like he can't like I mean the ball was hitting him right in the hands. There was some booing that was going on, not really at him, more at the offensive play calling. But a lot of people around think it's funny because he's such a diva. Like it was more the sentiment of you act like an asshat and you can't even catch the ball. So
Sure.
I think if he didn't act like that, they'd be like, ah, man, that sucks. Like it's cold, but because of who he is as a person and his antagonistic nature, he definitely you know, brought some heat on himself.
There were some clips of him actually arguing with fans and had to be not pulled away from fans, but backed away of like, stop what you're doing
Yeah,
on the
I didn't
sidelines.
see this live to be honest. Um, but he dropped everything that came his way. I mean, a couple of the throws were not great throws, but like
Yeah.
three of them literally hit both hands, and I think two of them hit him in the chest. So
This
embarrassing.
win at the time kept the Bengals playoff hopes alive. I did see some reports coming out, and I'll get everybody's thought on this. That Russ Wilson is seeking a 3-year, $30 million per season deal this offseason. Do we think that Russ is worth that much, and there are going to be any suitors at that price tag?
No.
Not given his on-field performance.
Okay, Jim?
No.
Yeah, I agree that he's definitely not worth that much. But I think that does put a little bit of the writing on the wall that maybe he will not be back in Pittsburgh next year. Next, getting into Sunday football, starting with a game near and dear to Nate's heart, as the Bucks beat the Saints 27-19, and the Bucks win the NFC South. Nate, as a Bucks fan, how are you feeling about this, and how do you feel about Mike Evans?
It was awesome for Evans to get that uh, tying record catch with the last play of the ball game there. Didn't think he was going to get there. He goes and celebrates. The crowd goes nuts for him. They just got to be able to stop people on defense. So I don't know what's going to happen first round. Um, they had their second starting safety, Jordan Whitehead, get in a car wreck
Mhm.
on Saturday, and they put him on IR. So now he's out. Winfield's been out for like the past month. So if they can't get healthy in the secondary, um, I think whoever they play, whatever round, if they're fortunate to get out of the first round, it's going to be a long game.
Indeed it will. So we'll see. We'll see who they play to be determined. We got a game going on right now as we record. Um, but Mike Evans also got $3 million for that specific catch, right? It was that catch that did it, right, Nate?
Yeah, that catch put him over the 1,000 for the year.
And put his the thousand, because the thousand was the mark he needed to hit, correct?
Yeah, he needed 1,000 yards plus. I want to say it's 85. I don't know why that number sticks out to me. But no,
Catches.
that was the yard. No, that was the yards he needed.
Yeah.
But I think he also had like a threshold for catches too. So
Yeah.
drinks are on Mike tonight.
Indeed, indeed. Next we have the Texans beat the Titans 23-14. The Titans are now on the clock as they lose their way to the number one pick in the NFL draft. The Texans win this one, going with a little bit more of a positive feel. Jim, how are you feeling about the Texans going into the playoffs?
They'll be first round and out.
This is going to be so bittersweet for you.
I know.
It's going to be a thing. We'll talk about
Well,
playoff matchups here shortly. But Jim's Texans, he moved from a Chargers fan to a Texans fan, and this is maybe the ultimate situation that could have happened for Jim in the NFL this year. Next, we had the Panthers beat the Falcons 44-38 in overtime. Bryce Young gets his first win as a road starter and has a big day with 5 total touchdowns. Michael Penix Jr. has nothing to be terribly concerned about with his play in this game. The next question for all of everybody now is, what's the move for Kirk Cousins?
I think he ends up in Vegas.
He ends up in Pittsburgh.
Jim, any teams you want to put to this?
no,
Tyler?
I don't know.
No.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Kirk Cousins is definitely not going to be in Atlanta. Don't know where he's going to be, though. Uh,
Frick.
what happened, Nate?
No, that's just Kirk Cousins because he doesn't know where he's playing.
Frick, where am I going to be, guys? Gosh darn it, tell me. Next, we had the Patriots beat the Bills 23-16 as the Patriots win their way out of the number one NFL draft pick. And the Bills become the first team in NFL history with 30 passing and 30 rushing touchdowns in the same season. Is there an asterisk on this with the 17-game season?
I'm going to say no.
No, there's not going to be, but there may be for some. Von Miller, go ahead,
Only
Nate.
if they lost to Michigan.
You you almost need to start like making a new record book, like since the induction of the 17 teams. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Agreed.
There's definitely going to be, I think, after 5 to 10 years, there's going to be like those levels to consider. Von Miller got a $1.5 million bonus in this game with whatever his one sack, which I think took him to 10. So another payday happens there. And post game, the Patriots announce that Gerard Mayo is out as head coach after only 1 year.
yeah, they
How
were
do we
like, you can't even keep the first round pick, so they're the first overall pick, so you got to go.
Didn't
uh,
didn't the Bears, was it last year or the year before, also fire their head coach when he won the last game of the season to not secure the number one pick?
well, the Bears got it by way of
Oh, okay.
The Panthers trade. Um, I mean, the Bears are just a whole other situation as far as their organization. We've talked to, I think we alluded to this. Mike Vrabel is an early favorite from the media for this position. Are there any other coaches we feel may be in line for this?
Because I don't even know what, off the top of my head, what all coaches are available.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to hear all the names. Ben Johnson out of Detroit. You're going to hear all of these like consistent names. I'm just curious. Curious
I
how
mean,
this one's going to play out. Bill Belichick, is he coming back?
I was just gonna say if he didn't already commit to Chapel Hill, I'd be like, does he come back?
Alex, after June, the buyout gets significantly less. Remember that. I don't think that's happening, but you never know. Bills were already locked into number 2 seed. so they did not care what happened in this game. Colts beat the Jaguars 26-23 in overtime. That game happened. Pat McAfee wasn't there. Nobody was in his suite. Done and
I
done.
think that's the biggest news of the whole game.
I was gonna say I think I saw more posts about that than I did
Yes,
the game.
that was
Honestly, the
entirely
Colts
accurate.
attendance was sad in general. I like when they flipped to that game, I was like, look at all the empty blue. Like just the fact that they're like last night the game, I know there was like more implications, I guess, for the season, but um the it was like 15 degrees with 15 to 20-mile-per-hour winds, and the stadium was basically packed at Heinz. So
I heard about this. I think it was on the Pat McAfee show that the person in the organization that was awarded for being like the best person in the community was the mascot this year. That's who won the award for the team, the mascot. So it just adds fuel to the fire of what's already going on in that organization for people to, pile on from the outside. Next, we had the Commanders
boom, 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 boom.
beat them Cowboys 23-19. Trey Lance got the start for Dallas. Nate, you found this. Go ahead, Nate.
Oh yeah, so I saw all over Twitter, X, whatever how we want to call it. Cooper Rush had a performance bonus in his contract that if he played 55% of the team snaps this year, since Dak got hurt, he would have got, I don't know what his bonus would have been, but Jerry Jones, I'm sure, stepped in and said, "Hey, we're not starting this fella."
We can't pay this 500K bonus to Cooper.
Well, that was my question. Wait, why did Cooper Cup not or Cooper Cup? I was confused by that. I guess I didn't realize, was he hurt?
No,
No, Alex, he just didn't play.
it's a meaningless game for them, so it's like, oh, let's just throw Trey Lance out there.
But it's
Oh,
Cooper.
and we could.
That was to me, I didn't realize that money was involved, and that really makes me feel like that was really probably the reason.
Oh, I'm gonna go on that hill, and I'm gonna say, yeah, that's definitely why he didn't play.
Because I'm like, he's been doing well. He's a back. I mean, he's not like like risking hurting like Patrick Mahomes or something. Like, let him play.
Let him play. Let the boys play. Next, we had the Eagles beat the
Last,
Giants 20-13.
sorry, last thing with the Commanders. Terry McLaurin, I know we can go back to the record books about the 17 games, but his touchdown catch today, that's a Washington franchise record for reception touchdowns in a single season. So
I don't even have to be here. This is fun. I got an Ohio State homer, and I don't have to say shit. This is
there you go.
nuts.
Just put an asterisk on it. 17 games.
I'm pretty sure he's beat Ohio State. Or he's beat
Oh, he
Michigan.
beat Ohio State? I'm pretty sure he did too. Eagles beat the Giants 20-13. Nothing of consequence going on in that game aside from Saquon not playing. Do we support the decision of the organization for Saquon not to play this game, looking for the all-time rushing yards mark?
I think he was in on that decision, so I don't care.
Yeah, as long as he made the decision, I'm fine with it.
I do feel bad for the fan that was in the front row with a sign that said, I traveled 1,000 miles to see Barkley break the record. So pretty unfortunate for that guy.
But we knew like a week ago.
Apparently, this guy didn't get the message.
Yeah, but if you've already booked your flight and booked your,
Oh well, Eric Dickerson's still happy that it's not broken. The Bears beat the Packers 24-22. Christian Watson carted off in this one with a right knee injury, and Jordan Love goes out a few plays later with an elbow injury. Unsure of the situation.
well, he was like warming up. He was about to come. He was like coming back because they wanted to win the game.
Yeah, they said
Well,
it was,
I thought they said at halftime that he was experiencing numbness in his hand.
it was also freaking cold out.
Yeah, I saw the video of the whole guy opening the bottle of water and instantly freezes.
Yeah.
Oh no, that was like that. It was like that at the Steelers game. Like waters were just freezing, and like I had one beer, and the top of it every time I took a drink was like icy.
That just means you got to chug faster.
Well, I was in charge of all of my brothers and cousins, so
I think it was
Was it-
11
more
straight,
just-
right?
what?
Packers beat the Bears 11 straight times before.
Yeah, the Bears got one back in this one.
There we go.
So no discount double check here. Seahawks beat the Rams 30-25. While this game may not have had much of a consequence for anything else, Geno Smith made
Heyday.
$6 million today
Heyday.
by his season passing yards mark, his completion percentage mark for the season, and the win itself was a $2 million payday. $2 million for each. He gets $6 million overall. For the Rams, bad news. Blake Corum broke his forearm, his right forearm, and is now out for the playoffs. So not Kyron Williams, Blake Corum, two-man backfield. Kyron Williams by himself.
Well,
There's your WVU talk for the day, Alex.
yeah.
You
Fair.
didn't even talk about Beanie Bishop getting an interception at the game you were
He
at.
did, and it was like one of those tips rolls around
Mhm.
interceptions. So I was excited about that.
All right, the Jets beat the Dolphins 32-20. In this game, Aaron Rodgers becomes the fifth quarterback in NFL history to throw 500 or more touchdown passes in his career. The Dolphins, by the time this one rolled around, knew that they were not playing for anything.
Someone said that like, and then they realized, why am I out here in the cold for nothing?
Bingo, bango. Do we think this is Aaron Rodgers' last game?
There's a lot of speculation towards it.
I think he's going to be one of those guys that quote unquote retires. He's going to pull some Brett Favre crap.
Apparently, it's something in the water up there in Green Bay. Then, Tyler, thoughts on this last game?
I'm with Alex. I think he retires, but I think he comes back.
Jim?
I don't know.
I think he retires and he goes into a dark cave and it tells him, play football.
Okay, I'm unsure what's going to happen
He's
here,
an
but
attention whore, so like I
he
don't know if
said
he
he
can
said he was
leave.
going to make this decision before I think March, which I think is like the time frame that would need to be for the free agency situation. So we will
He'll do
find out.
something with the Pat McAfee show that announces one way or the other.
I suspect that's true. The Broncos beat the Chiefs 38-0 as the Broncos are in their
Can
playoff
we just
spot.
go back to like he is an attention whore, and like he's gonna want the attention. So when he goes to retire, it's either going to be this big dramatic thing, or he's going to come back for more attention.
If he
Right?
So
comes
so
back,
you're saying he can't win in
Oh,
your
you're
eyes.
right. No, no.
That's all. I
I'll
just want
own
to make
that
sure.
shit.
I just want to make sure that whatever decision he makes, you will have a negative
I
opinion.
will do that the minute you own that he's an attention whore.
I can't say that. I'm not going to go as far to say he's an attention whore. I'm going to say he doesn't shy away from getting attention. I don't think that makes him attention whore.
Jim, are you going to watch his special on Netflix?
Nope.
No.
I am not going to feed the attention whore. That's how you make them go away.
Yeah. All right. You done? You done giving Aaron Rodgers more attention when I was about to move on?
Is he an attention whore, Muff?
The fact that you continue to do this leads me to believe the answer is always going to be yes, no matter what I say.
Just need you to own it one time.
I listen. I just need you to understand that Ohio State wins national championship. There is no asterisks.
No,
So
there
if
is.
you say that, then I will say what you want me to say.
Like, what led you to the fandom?
We've been
Like,
over.
let's go down that rabbit
Okay,
hole.
first off, you're doing exactly what you hate.
Let's
I
go
tried to
down
move
that
on.
rabbit hole.
I tried to move
What
on,
made
Jim.
you like Aaron Rodgers?
One, I appreciated his time in Green Bay,
Uh-huh.
and we've talked about this. I
As a
appreciate
Steeler fan, you appreciated a Green Bay quarterback.
I mean, there's
you can appreciate greatness, Jim, even if it's not
Mm-hmm.
on your own team.
my cousin said that almost exact same phrase to me today about Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase because I was like, yeah, it's cool to say like I went and saw him and stuff because they are going to get out as a big pair. And she almost said the same thing. You
So
have
what
to.
else, Muff? What else made you like him?
I mean, obviously, him being in the spotlight helps because you get to hear him talk more, get to hear him say more things, and I appreciate that he does the things that he does and is open about it and has conversations about it.
Spot crystals.
Well, that's what Jim thinks. That's part of that second part of
Do
the
you like
attention.
his alternate views on medicine?
Oh, here we go.
I'm just asking, Alex.
I, if you're going to ask me that question directly, is that what you're asking?
That's what I'm asking.
I appreciate these open to the discussion of them.
Okay. All right. Do you find him handsome?
Oh boy.
Do I do not personally, Jim, but
Okay.
I
So do you
mean,
find him ugly?
I'm not judging his
Sorry,
looks.
that was one of those moments where I was like, okay, I know what Jim needs right now. It's
It's not a judgment I'm willing to render. Jim, you can ask your wife, and she can give us a non-biased opinion.
Well, she's not a fan, so I'm asking a fan. I need to know.
Well, that's why you shouldn't ask me. We need a non-biased opinion.
But
listen, I'm
I'm
gonna have to
interested
leave
in
for
your
work early
fandom.
in the morning. I
Sam,
need to
Sam,
go, so
Sam, Sam,
She's
Aaron
sleeping.
Rodgers. Oh, she is? Well, that doesn't help. The one thing we needed her for tonight, Nate.
Hey, Aaron Rodgers. You know what he looks like?
Yeah.
Is he attractive?
Yeah.
There you go.
Bingo. We've got our answer, Jim. You have anything else? Or do you want to
Oh,
feed into this attention
go ahead,
situation?
Muff. Go ahead.
Broncos beat the Chiefs 38 to nothing, solidifying their spot
So if
in.
Sam thinks she's hot, you think he's hot?
I just said there's the non-biased opinion we were looking for.
I wasn't necessarily looking for unbiased. I was looking for yours.
I told you I'm not going to render judgment on that.
Oh, okay. Go
Listen,
ahead.
you got to remember that her first year in fantasy football, she drafted 4 quarterbacks because they were attractive.
That wasn't my first year. That was like my third year doing it.
Go ahead, Muff.
I just want to make sure there's nothing else you want to come back to.
I'm good. I'm good.
Do you want any more attention?
No, I'm good.
Is there still an asterisk if Ohio State wins the national championship?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. Don't ask me any more questions. Broncos win. Cortland Sutton gets his 500K bonus because he got 82 receiving yards, which he reached in the first half. Broncos solidify their spot in the AFC playoff race. The Chargers beat the Raiders 34 to 20, setting up a matchup in the first round against the Texans. Jim's old team versus Jim's new team. J.K. Dobbins earned 450K bonus for having 58 rushing yards on the day. Cardinals destroy the 49ers 47 to 24. Kyler Murray had a bonus on the line that he did not get. He needed 50 rushing yards. I believe it was for 750K. He only had like 25 or 30. And a live look in Sunday Night Football, the game that means the most this week. Vikings Lions, how we looking?
7-6 lines at the half.
Ooh, buddy, Nate, you found something interesting on the ticket sales.
Yeah, let me go back and find that post. I think I shared it with the group. So where's it at here? Or maybe I did, or maybe I didn't. But anyway, until I find it, apparently the Vikings had spent like $7 million on tickets for this game, all right behind their team bench. And now, of course, I can't freaking find it.
trying to fill up the space.
Listen,
Yeah,
we need
so again, I don't know how in the world, one, why they let this happen, or two, that you think you need to actually do this. Oh, here we go. I was looking on the Twitter messages and I was looking on the Instagram messages. It was actually a text from his ESPN article. It says the Vikings found an effective but an expensive way this week to increase their in-stadium presence. The team purchased roughly 1,900 tickets for Ford Field right behind the visitors' bench on the secondary market, ESPN confirmed, at roughly $1,000 a ticket or just under $2 million. The Vikings then offer them to team-based stakeholders at a cost that ranged from $200 to $300 per ticket.
apparently it's not hurting them right now. It's a good game at the half.
Well, the Vikings are currently 0 for 3 in the red zone.
Okay, not helping or hurting at this point.
Probably should have
Whoop.
put them more in the red zone.
Yep, here we go. All right, this brings us into the NFL playoffs starting
Playoffs.
this upcoming weekend. In the AFC, we have the Chiefs locked into the number 1 spot, get the bye. And Saturday football, we will have the Texans versus Chargers playing at 4:30 on Saturday on CBS. Jim,
I think we should call this the Compton Bowl.
this is the Compton Fandom Bowl. If the Chargers win, do they re-win your fandom, Jim?
No.
Still on the Texans after this year.
Yes, I told you this.
No, you said you could. Didn't you say you were potentially a free agent again after this year?
No, I did not, Muff. I said, as long as Harbaugh is there, I will not be a fan. If
No.
he were to, Muff, if he were to leave at the end of this year, I would be willing to revisit it.
I'm saying free agent generally, not to
Oh.
to Chargers. Did you not say that you could be a free agent after this year?
I said
in
I would
fandom.
think about it, but I'm
Okay.
not rethinking it. No.
Okay. Staying with the Texans. All right. I
Staying with the
appreciate that.
Texans.
All right. And Saturday Night Football on Amazon Prime, we have the Steelers traveling to Baltimore to take on the Ravens in an AFC North matchup in the first round of the playoffs. Can't say that the Steelers can feel good about any of this.
No. But how sweet would it be to knock the Ravens off?
Would be a great day. And the
I will
final match. Go ahead,
be
Jim.
watching this game on mute.
Do you want to listen to Kirk Herbstreit
No,
or Al Michaels?
no.
Tyler, how do you feel about Kirk Herbstreit?
He's there.
I feel like Tyler doesn't let so much of the extraneous stuff affect him.
Tyler makes me want to move back home.
Told you, Jim. You got a little bit of Columbus bleeding into you now.
I really think I do. I think it's a sickness at this point.
I'm not saying you're full blown there, but there's definitely some times it creeps in.
I know.
And in the final game on Sunday in the AFC, we have the Broncos traveling to Buffalo to take on the Bills.
That'll be a good game.
Any hope for Buffalo or for Denver in this game?
How is that the final game? Oh, you're talking about for the AFC.
For the
Okay,
AFC, yeah.
gotcha.
If the Broncos can keep it close in the first half, they have a shot, but
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't think so.
And in the NFC, playing out real time right now, the top seed is going to be decided by this Vikings Lions game. The winner gets the number one overall seed in the first round bye. Everything else set up at this point. In Sunday action, or midday Sunday action, we have the Packers traveling to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. Believe all signs point to Jalen Hurts being available for this game. Um, how do we feel? Initial thoughts.
There'll be a lot of green on the field.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
Eagles are a hard team to beat right now.
Yeah, they're gonna win this one.
Yeah, I gotta get side with the Eagles here as well. Tyler, any thoughts?
Eagles.
Eagles. All right, and Nate's Bucks hosting the Commanders.
Bum,
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 bum, bum,
bum,
bum,
bum, bum,
bum.
bum.
8 o'clock Sunday night, NBC foosball. Nate, how are we feeling about the Bucks against Jaden Daniel led Commanders?
Well, it's a rematch of the week one of the season where we beat them down in Tampa Bay. I definitely think of the draw. Like I said earlier, I didn't think the Bucks got the 3 seed. I thought the Rams did. Um, so I feel more confident going up against the Commanders than I do the loser of this Vikings Lions game.
Yeah, I feel like that is a good concept. I think the Rams were playing for that 3 seed today, and they chose to sit it out, which I did think was interesting
Mhm.
because they didn't play really anybody. And end up losing somebody anyway, right? So bad all around for the Rams, I believe. In the last matchup, the Rams will be hosting the loser of the Vikings Lions game. So do we think there's a preferred matchup for the Rams in that one?
The Vikings.
I don't
I
know
would
that.
agree. I would agree. Well, no, yeah, I'm gonna agree there because the Lions are starting to get back some of those defensive players
That's true.
in small doses. Maybe I'll see the Alex Anzalone post of his forearm stitched up post surgery. He's like,
No, I
I'm
didn't see
back.
I didn't see the post, but
Oh yeah, it was pretty much from right above his wrist to right below his elbow, Alex, all stitched up. It
makes
was
sense.
pretty intense. All right. We talked about who had the first overall pick in the NFL draft. Right now, the current order, until any trades may or may not happen, we have the Titans, Browns, Giants, Patriots, and Jaguars in this top five. Do we expect the Titans to spend this pick on a quarterback?
I do not.
No.
There was a picture of Titans fans with bags over their heads, and one of them had Shedeur Sanders taped to it.
I think the Titans, I think it's gonna be interesting. They could also potentially be in like the Kirk Cousins sweepstakes if they're gonna move on from Will Levis, or maybe some other quarterbacks that maybe they're going to try to sign Sam Darnold. Who knows what's going on? Do we think
Russ. You,
could be in the Russ camp? I do think at this point we have to suspect that the Giants are going to do everything possible to get the quarterback that they want out of this draft.
Well,
Yeah,
don't forget, Shador says he's going to the Giants with those freaking ugly ass shoes.
Indeed, indeed. I think it's going to be a really interesting draft, especially with some trades either on day of or leading up to. I think it's going to be a good one. Even been speculation there may be some head coaches involved in some of these trades. KOC Mike Tomlin rumored very, very initially. All right, we're going to leave the end of year award stuff for another day and get into some other interesting news in sports.
Interesting news in sports.
Starting generally in the college world, as the NCAA is reportedly considering allowing for 5 years of eligibility for players in all sports. Given the recent JUCO ruling, does that mean that you could play 7 years in college sports? If that
uh,
Yep.
happens, let me tell you, that's going to be insane.
I think if you go to 5 years, then the JUCO year counts. Because I mean, at that point, my argument is, if the point of college, and I know Jim is going to jump around my throat and be like, "You're the old guy on the porch list." If the point of college is to get a degree, degrees are 4 years. There's no 5 year degree. So why are we doing a fifth year?
Alex, how long were you in college?
Okay, first of all, that was not. I have 2 degrees.
How long did it take you to get your undergraduate degree?
Two my undergraduate degrees, just to make sure people don't think I'm
Alex, were you a
dumb. 6
super
years.
senior?
I took 6 years of undergrad, Nate.
All
I have
right,
like
so
400
you're
freaking
wrong.
credits. I don't really have 400 credits.
I just wanted to make sure we had that laid out there since you were going to take a hard stance.
That is fair. But the point, I
People want to stay
finished
at
both.
school,
I
Alex.
finished
They
my
can stay in
degrees
school.
quicker. I had so much time for another one.
All right.
Mhm.
Any thoughts on this? Are we for this, against this, indifferent? Jim,
I don't care.
Tyler,
Doesn't matter to me.
Nate.
I think if you're going to give a fifth year of eligibility, I think 2 JUCO years should count as one.
If you do two, then it counts as one of your years of eligibility.
Yes.
If you play one, it doesn't count as anything.
But apparently not after that ruling for Diego Pavia.
That's why I said like I feel if they go to this 5 years, then something's got to give with the JUCO stuff. All
Right.
right.
I think most of the guys that are good enough to play as freshmen um, are gone after 3 years. And then the guys that aren't get their red shirt and are there 5 years anyway. So I really don't think we're going to notice if that's kind of my take on
You're
it. I don't think
not.
it's going
You're
to
right.
be something we really realize.
I mean I talked about this before. Now that you're on here, Tyler, my biggest thought is I think if the JUCO stuff continues to be something, then we're going to see less high school recruits, especially those like 3 and lower 4-star recruits get going anywhere in the power conferences. You're going to see the JUCO be like a minor leagues for the power conferences.
I can see that.
That was my thought. In the golf world, PGA is considering a bracket style format for their tour championship.
They got to do something. This shit's boring.
Well, Jim, you've already laid out the plan for them to become less boring.
But they don't listen to me.
Tyler, Jim's thought was we need to have like the PNC championship where you have all of the players with their kids and their family members playing against each other.
Need some kind of storyline. Shit.
Scotty Scheffler, Jim.
It's still boring.
They do have an event right now that is this bracket format in the middle of the season. I guess it's the first third of the season. I think it would add an additional layer to the tour championship. I would just have to see how it's laid out to understand if I would really like it or not. TBD.
I, I've been more interested in seeing Bryson hit a hole in one over his house than any PGA stuff the last couple years. So
Or,
Exactly.
or Jersey Jerry. Jim, you could be Jersey Jerry.
Let's move on.
Jim, that could be you. Just saying. In basketball news, St. John's
Speaking of boring,
University. Oh,
Hey,
St. John's University under head coach Rick Pitino appears to at least one time, and maybe for the rest of the season, or at least for the near future, opting out of post-game handshakes, as Pitino cited not wanting interactions between opposing coaches and his players because there were NIL offers or actual money offers being offered up in some of these lines. How
I think that's BS. I think
I don't have any problem with it. I honestly thought I still think that after the some of these bowl games, Ohio State's included, I think there's conversations being had.
So there was a video, I don't know if it was after BYU and Utah, I think it was, that there was a clip of a few of the BYU players going up to two different Utah players, and those players ended up transferring to BYU, or vice versa, whatever way that worked out. But the
Mhm.
two guys they went and talked to did end up transferring to that school. So honestly, with the Wild West, it would not surprise me.
I
Yeah.
still think you just go shake hands. I mean, come on. At that point, if they want to get a hold of them, they're going to.
And we go to school uphill both ways in our shoes in the snow.
Yep.
Jim, I thought you said you don't care about any of this.
All I'm saying is I believe that it's possible that the NIL situation is happening. And if Bettino, of all people, says, I'm going to try to keep my hands clean, I don't blame the guy.
You don't blame Patino for this move, this act.
Isn't this the same guy that had like the FBI watching
Oh,
him?
listen, Jim, listen, Patino is the last person that should be making the stand. I 100% agree with you.
Like
But in a
he's
principle, do you
doing
think,
something right. Like
okay,
leave
so
him be.
the principle of this is you're okay with it.
Like from him doing
Yeah.
that, I have no problem with it.
Okay. I was just listen, I'm I I understand where Alex is coming from, that it doesn't matter if they were shaking hands in that line or not, somebody's going to get this information to them.
Hey, and I agree, but the way Alex phrased it was go shake hands. That's the way to
I agree
be.
with that too.
It's a
I
little,
add that on to my reasoning is because they're going to get it no matter where else, but also go shake hands.
Nate, is there a penalty in high school sports for not participating in a post-game handshake?
I wouldn't know. I'm not on the field.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's called looking like an asshole.
Once that game's over, I'm getting the hell out of Dodge.
Okay. I just didn't know if there was any like potential post-game repercussions for not doing certain things.
No, there's not.
Not that you would be involved in, at least.
No.
Got it. All right. I was going to talk about Jimmy Butler, but I don't think we need to because I feel like it's going to be a bunch of old men on the porch situation here. Um,
Yep.
any other sports news? Yeah, Alex, yes. I knew that Alex would be in the yes, this will be a terrible topic. Any other sports news, sports topics, stuff to discuss today?
Winter Classic happened. So that was fun.
Which one? Aren't there like five of them now?
Yeah, Jim, what about
Oh
the
yeah, that's true.
women's hockey team?
Yeah. Didn't Ohio State do something in hockey?
They upset
Yeah.
number one Wisconsin.
The
That
Frozen
happened.
Confines series, Big Ten hockey. I think
That
it was
happened.
8 shootouts actually
Was it? I didn't. I saw a score.
for
That's
the
all I
women.
saw.
And then the night before, the Ohio State team scored with 30 seconds left to beat Michigan. So no asterisk on that season.
WVU upset Kansas in basketball at
Indeed, they
Allen
did.
Fieldhouse. They
Alex
were
was
0 and
pretty.
11 at Allen Fieldhouse before that. So,
So they're like the Bears of Big 12 basketball right now.
yep. They didn't have a losing streak against Kansas, but at Kansas they did.
Indeed, indeed. All
Hey,
right.
Chris, since we're big on tradition, do you think that if Ohio State and Penn State win, do they move the national championship game to noon?
I mean, it'll be Monday at noon.
On
100,
Fox.
110,000% Monday at noon, big noon kickoff. Urban Meyer will be there.
Gus Johnson.
He'll be jaying off on all the Ohio State fans. Gus Johnson will have an Iowa pin on
He'll have no
while he's
idea what's
calling the
going on.
game, and he will show no enthusiasm for any excitement that's going on, and I will want to KMS. So that that would be very fitting. In fact, it would be at the same time as like an NFL playoff game. Give it the second fiddle. But thank you, Tyler. Appreciate you joining for this week's episode.
Thanks for having me.
Jim appreciated, I think, for the most part, another Ohio State fan, although
Yeah.
I think there's some differing opinions on the severity of certain losses in the season. But
He was
do
just
you
bringing him back down to Ohio Valley, Ohio State fan.
do you have NFL fandom, Tyler? I really don't.
I would say the Steelers, but it's one of those.
That's
If
the
I'm wa
reason.
if I'm watching,
That's
I'm
why we
watching. If
disagree.
I'm not, I don't care, to be honest.
What was that, Jim?
That's why we disagree. He's got that yinzer in him.
Well, we'll see. All right, that wraps up this week's episode of Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff. Remember, you can get us on the socials at Sports Jim Muff on Instagram and Twitter, Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff on Facebook, on YouTube. Do all those action verbs, poke, like, and tickle.
Get the bell on.
Ding ding.
And remember, the only way for us to go up, 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 and away throughout the rest of this football season for all the bets to hit is to tell a friend, make a friend, be a friend.